What's up in War Eagle War Report family? Your man Ike Jones, your man Mike G here. Yeah. So what'd you guys do tonight?
Oh man, it was an uninspired performance tonight for sure.
Yeah.
Uninspired. So I want to start with just a little appreciation for what this team did do this year. They gave us a lot of hope. We got one of the best regular seasons in school history. We got another SEC regular season title. We are going to produce likely a top 3 pick in the NBA draft. We had our first #1 overall ranking in school history this year for a few weeks. They did a lot of great things this season. Ultimately, this was a team put together in 1 year. Right. And it's not me making excuses, just calling it what it is. Right. This wasn't a team of veterans that had played with each other for even 2 years. This was a team mishmashed together from the portal and recruiting. So we recruited Jabari, but we went deep into the portal for Kessler, Zep, Wendell. A lot of key contributors on this team came from the portal. As a matter of fact, 4 out of our starting 5 were not on this team last year. Right. So, who's our starting 5? Well, that's Zep. That's late in the season, Flanagan, the only guy, really. You got Jabari, Kessler, and who's our 5th guy in that starting lineup?
KD.
Not
KD?
Yeah, KD. Yeah, KD.
Yeah,
not on the team.
KD, Jabari Smith, Walker Kessler, all not here last year.
Not here last year. Yeah. So
the only guy, Flanagan, was the only guy that and he ended up starting, but before that with Cambridge. So
yeah. So I mean, it is what it is. It's like, for me, it is it's just this, it's disappointing, it's sobering, right, when you watch a performance like that. Yeah. And knowing that the team didn't play to this potential. Now, you have to give
Miami so much credit.
Got to give Miami credit, right? So the one thing you can't do in these things is you cannot diminish the two things can be true. Auburn didn't play well, but Miami also had a hand in why we didn't play well.
Right.
If that makes sense. Right. So you don't want to say, oh, Miami was the greatest opponent ever.
Right.
Yeah, that's not what we're saying. But they also came in with a good game plan. We didn't match up well. And our 2 best players, our most important player and our best player, picked now to both have an off night. Kessler got in foul trouble early, and Jabari just short arming everything at the rim, point blank. It happens to the best. You just hope it doesn't happen at tournament time. Now, I would bet my bottom dollar Jabari doesn't have another game like that in this tournament if Auburn advanced. We just didn't survive. We couldn't survive it.
Yeah.
We were going to need a hero. It was apparent after a few minutes into the second half, we were going to need a hero to advance. And it just wasn't in the cards tonight. So mad appreciation for this team and what they accomplished. Mad appreciation for our coach as well, who is a big reason why Auburn is here. So you just have to see it for what it is. I don't think fans should hang their heads.
I mean, absolutely understand why any fan would be disappointed in how this game ended, because it wasn't even like it. I was joking with Mike before we got on about, I didn't need any gummies tonight because I never felt like we were in this game. Like it just felt like they were deflated from the very first tip. And I think when Kessler got his second foul, they were just like, oh, this is what kind of night it's going to be. And then it just never woke up. So I wasn't really on the edge of my seat because I never felt like we were in the game. It was just always like we made that small run at the end of the half to close it to within 1, but I still didn't feel good about how we were playing. It just kind of felt like Jalen Williams wasn't going to keep shooting that well. And Miami was getting way too many easy looks. And it was just not strategically. We didn't adjust very much at all. I don't know if anybody wants to see a film breakdown on this, I can definitely do it. But I ain't gonna be in no rush to do it because it's not like we got another game coming up. But But yeah, man, it really, really good strategy by Miami. And the small ball works, man. It definitely works.
Yep.
When you can get and this is what I talked about before the game. I was like, if they're gonna keep Walker Kessler away from the rim defensively, um, they're gonna have an opportunity to get points because he is the equalizer for us defensively. And when he got out of that game early, I was just like, yo, this is not good. This is not good. We went to that zone for a little bit and then dude hit like a 3-pointer 5 feet beyond the thing. I was like, oh, wow, it's going to be one of them nights. And then just inexplicably, Jabari Smith had an awful game.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
he and Walker Kessler were missing point blank shots.
It was bad.
So the issue for this team has been the issue all year for me. And it is there isn't a guy who you can just give the ball to and say, all right, clear it out, let him go get it. And Jabari Smith, as good as he is not that kind of player. He's not a put the ball on the floor, create his own shot dude. He's a guy who gets it in the flow of the offense. He's a spot up guy. He's a one dribble. He's a turn face up shoot guy. He's not a give the ball to him, clear it out, let him go get a bucket because he doesn't have that kind of bag. And KD Johnson is really the only ISO ball player that we have, and KD is just not consistent enough to be that kind of guy. So that's been the issue the entire year. What the offense has been up and down. It's the defense tonight that was so disappointing. Like it just way too many uncontested, really easy shots for them. And them having bigger guards, they were just shooting over the top. They understood what they needed to do to win this game. They came out and executed it flawlessly. So major props to Miami for that. Hoping that some of these guys decide to come back and get a little bit more development. Going to go here to the chat. Big Gap 78 here says everyone needs to come back. That's just what I was saying. No one is ready for the league. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if that's true. I do think Jabari Smith is ready for the league. He's just not ready to be a superstar in the league.
Right.
He can be a guy that can be a really good contributor to a team. He can't be the guy for a team.
Yeah, he's got some aspects of his game he needs to develop.
Yeah, he's not going to step into the league and be a ethereal talent. But to be fair, he didn't play like a number one pick tonight.
You didn't, and you just have to call it what it is. It's not slander to just say, hey, our best player did not play to his potential tonight. Now, again, I can't stress enough, Miami had something to do with why he didn't play well. And if you've watched Auburn this year, this wasn't a complete shock. You always knew they were capable of this type of offensive performance. You just hoped it wouldn't rear its head in the tournament. It did. That's it. So, Miami made it tough on us. We made it tough on ourselves, and it resulted in our only double-digit loss of the year. At the end, we just looked gassed.
Yeah,
and physically and emotionally.
It was really mental gas, though. I don't even think, honestly, they hadn't played hard enough for it to be physically gas. It was all mental. They were just like, yo, we can't do anything here. Like Jabari looked frustrated. He was taking frustration fouls out there. He was, chirping with refs, trying to get foul calls. This is the stat of the game for me. Walt Taylor, our guy Walt here, says our starter shot 23%, bro. It was bad. Like there was no one who looked like they were locked in other than Jalen Williams. Jalen Williams was the only guy out there who looked locked in from the minute he stepped on the floor. Everybody else looked like they were trying to figure it out. KD had spurts where he would look like, okay, yeah, here comes the KD we need when we need him to come be the hero ball guy. But even in that, it was just one or two shots here and then a bunch of frustrating stuff. So Walt again says we rebounded them by 16, which we should have. We're the bigger team, but the problem is that those rebounds weren't offensive rebounds that led to points. They were offensive rebounds that led to more bad shots, or they were defensive rebounds at the end of long possessions, right? So, the turnovers, the early fouls and the turnovers is really what just completely knocked the wind out of the sails of this team.
Yeah, I really thought Kessler would get back in the game at some point. I mean, he sat almost the whole first half.
He was ineffective. There was nothing he was doing that was effective out there. Like even when he had point blank shots, he was missing them. And I just like I said, I think mentally that long break, and this is prone to have happened to Walker Kessler in other games. When he gets out of the game in foul trouble early, when he comes back in the game, he's
Yeah,
just
you can't
not.
get back into the flow. Yeah.
He can't do it. Like it's just for whatever reason he can't reinsert himself. And this is honestly why Walker Kessler struggled at North Carolina, because he needs to be involved in a game early. You got to get him involved. You got to get him in action and stuff like that. If he gets disengaged early, he never knows how to turn it back on. So he can't be a guy like Cardwell who can come off the bench and just be energy the entire time. He's got to be in there early, involved in the game. But listen, that doesn't take away from him having an amazing season. But yeah, this game just didn't look good from any standpoint. Cam jumps in here and asks, how many layups did we miss? I
Oh
lost count.
man, listen, we shot
I lost count.
23%, so a lot. A lot of those were point blank at the rim, and you just have to call it what it is. We played a bad game, but we knew they were capable of this. Now, what I saw was, the scoreboard won't reflect how well they hustled on defense. Like Jabari had his worst offensive game of the season, guys.
Yeah.
By a long shot. But I want to read you some stats on what he did, because this is, he still went up and got 15 rebounds in this game and 3 blocks. He was hustling.
Yeah. So again, I don't think it was effort wasn't the issue.
Effort wasn't the issue.
It was just, we said this, there are some matchups that are just bad for you. I thought this was a favorable matchup for us because we were going to be able to do some, but listen, the tape that I watched on Miami for those 2 games, they played defensively way more tenaciously than they did in the 2 games that I watched them. They were aggressive in their ball pressure. They were taking a lot of chances with steals, and it paid off. Their quickness was just way too much for us. We looked big and slow tonight against a very quick and athletic team.
Yeah, listen, Wendell, KD, and Jabari were a combined 11 for 40 shooting. That'll get you beat.
Yeah,
that'll get you beat. So, and if you factor in Kessler went 0 for 6. He didn't hit a single shot in this game.
Yeah.
So,
Jabari missed 3 free throws, I think. Like, it was just a bad shooting night all the way around.
Kessler and Jabari, again, a combined 3 for 19. You can't, these are guys that are going to play in the NBA. They're going to have careers at the next level. So don't get it twisted. These are talented guys. This was a bad night, though. It was a bad performance. I don't think we need to overanalyze and say, I don't think this needs to be overanalyzed. We had our bad night at the worst possible time they could have had their bad night. Now, we asked earlier in the earlier live, is this season, well, not in the earlier live, but earlier we asked, what's a successful season for Auburn? And at the time, I felt like anything short of the Sweet 16 would disappointing.
Yeah.
But I have a hard time with the narrative that this was a wasted season. I just don't. I just think when you go into the portal and you get, a team that was predicted to finish 5th in the conference won it and made it to the tourney. I don't know how, with what the expectations were at the front end with a bunch of guys who had not played together before, after they did accomplish something, you could call it a wasted season. Yeah. I don't know. But if you would have had to had seen this coming to call this a wasted season. Nobody saw this run coming. Nobody. This wasn't a wasted season, right? We won an SEC championship.
I think it's revisionist to say that. Like you look at how much anticipation was built up from the early season success and said, oh man, this team could be great. And then that looked like waste.
Right. Correct.
But to win the regular season championship in the SEC is not a waste.
It wasn't hard this year. It was difficult. Yeah. But again, like I said,
but it's an absolute, like, I'm still very disappointed in how this season ended. I was adamant to say, I don't think that this team not making it past the first weekend is good. Yeah, I wanted us to at least make it to the Sweet 16.
No, there's a difference between disappointing and wasted.
For sure. Right? Definitely disappointing.
Disappointing season for sure. Wasted, that's a step too far for me, right?
This is an interesting question here from Kyle 2013. Thanks for the chat here. Was the SEC overrated this year?
I don't know, man. I know. Listen, I'm bordering on a little.
Yeah,
Yeah,
my thought here is now that, man, maybe the ACC
was
was
underrated this whole
wa
time.
yeah, was like they were beating each other up, and that's the reason why people were looking so vulnerable over in the ACC. I'm still not on the Big 12 train of them being this juggernaut of a league,
Yeah, for
but,
sure.
the ACC looks like they are just a formidable league. The Big 10 is doing well, but yeah, it looks like the SEC may have been a little overrated. I don't think that that's unfair to
I
say.
don't think it's an unfair statement. I don't think it's an unfair statement at all. I was borderline
Yeah,
going into this. I felt like if we got two teams into the Sweet 16, you know, no, but yeah, one team and then it's Arkansas.
right.
Yeah, it's not the team that won your regular season title or your SEC tournament.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Mm,
Raven Patel jumps in. We let their defense control our offense. Absolutely. And this is honestly the biggest problem with this Auburn team all year has been we allow teams to dictate to us too much offensively. Like when they decide we're not going to be big inside, then we say, okay, fine. Well, we'll just shoot from the outside then. And taking what the defense gives you is one thing, but allowing another team to dictate to you what they want you to do is a completely different thing. And I think that's something that we, as Auburn basketball, have to figure out how to do is how to impose our will on teams offensively. Again, the more disappointing thing was our inability to impose our will on the defensive end of the basketball floor. But yeah, to just let teams say, I know you have a height advantage, but you're not going to use it tonight is absolutely mind-boggling how often that happened this year. How often we were the bigger, more physical team and we let smaller, quicker teams just dictate to us what the pace of play was going to be and where they wanted us to shoot the basketball from. Um, Rick Cazenave jumps in. Kessler improved a bunch year 1 to 2, more upside probably down the stretch. Teams didn't sneak up on anyone, and gaps were schemed better. Yeah, they figured out what we were going to do and how we were going to do it, and they were just like, okay, well, we're just not going to let them do that. They're going to have to figure something else out.
right.
And honestly, man, again, I said this when I was breaking down Miami's tape. They didn't run any sets, bro. Like it was just spread it out
Yeah, right.
and go one on one. A lot of dribble handoff stuff. It was just poke and probe and figure out who can get drives, and then at the end of the clock, give it to a guy and let him go create a shot. Or they got it in transition. It was not some masterful scheme that made this happen. It was they wanted to play pace and space ball, and we let them do it.
Right. Right. I just, like I said, I think it's okay to be disappointed in this result.
Yeah,
There's a fine line between disappointment and just throwing everything that they accomplished this season away because of this game. I don't believe in that. I don't believe in that at all.
yeah,
Now, we're not in championship or bust mode yet. Now, had this been a team of like returning starters that had made the tournament the prior year, and there were high expectations, and this was Jabari's second year, then I would say, yeah, it's Final Four or bust for a team like that.
yeah,
This was a mismatched team from the portal. They had to come together in one off season to try to accomplish something that literally nobody thought that they could do. And you can
yeah,
call that Homer or you could say what you want, but like I don't think this is not one of those things. And we, since our channel has started, we've been for the most part a no sunshine pump zone.
yeah,
We will call it like it is. When we're good, we're good. When we're bad, we're bad, especially at football. But to look at what they accomplished this year and just throw everything away, I don't know, man. I can't get on board with that. To each their own.
yeah,
I just can't get on board with that. I think that these guys did what they could. Our best player tore his Achilles. One of our best returning player that we knew at the time tore his Achilles in the preseason, or in the offseason. It was difficult. He never got back into the flow. There were
yeah.
a lot of hurdles for this team to overcome, and they credit to them. They raised the bar of expectation during the season because that
Right.
bar was 5th in the SEC.
Yeah, and again, I think that that's where people are with it. Is this is the unfortunate reality of being an Auburn fan. Sometimes is you start to believe and you let the team get your hopes up, and Auburn fans hate having their hopes up. And so every time that they get disappointed, they're just like, see, this is why I don't let y'all get my hopes up, because y'all gonna dash my hopes every time. And it's frustrating. I 100% get it. Listen, I've been an Auburn fan for a very long time, and I definitely agree. Every time you start to believe and have expectations, that's when Auburn lets you down typically.
Right.
And that's why the 2019 run, or whatever year it was so amazing, because it's like we looked dead in the water, and then they just caught fire. And it was like, whoa, where did this come from? We've got a chance to go win a title. And we much prefer, as Auburn fans, to be in the seat of nobody expects anything from us. We're not highly rated. We're just going to go out there and sneak up on people. But for whatever reason, the weight of expectation seems to crush Auburn sports.
Yeah, it happened. Hey, listen, Chase Callahan says, as an Auburn student, I will purposely walk around looking to congratulate these guys. Heck of a season.
That's the way to be.
That's the way to be. That's the way to be. They played their asses off. Like you can't look at, you can be disappointed, but you can't look at this game and say they didn't give their all on the court. It just didn't come together. Man, those guys were out there busting ass tonight.
Yeah.
I mean, they were getting after it. They just didn't come together, and we all wanted it for them so bad. So,
yeah.
If you've never been with us for one of these post games, we haven't done it much for basketball. We do it every game for football. This is not really the time that we talk stats and facts and X's and O's. This is
we're just reacting.
Immediate emotional reaction to what we saw. We're here to react with you, hear what you guys have to say, and then talk about what it looks like moving forward.
Yeah. Hugh Rayleigh says coach kept saying make them play our game, but we didn't. Right. There was no point in this game where this. I even tweeted this. I was like, I don't even know what team I'm watching right now. This doesn't look like, even in our losses this year, this looked like a completely this was worse than the Texas A&M game. Like in the Texas A&M game, there were points in that game where I was like, okay, here's the Auburn team I know. Like as awful as the shooting was, the defense was still solid. As awful as the shooting was, I still saw some tenacity on the defensive glass. And then we made that run late in the game to close it out a little bit. I never felt good about this game. The minute Walker Kessler went out, I was like, oh man, I don't know about this, because it just did. The energy just didn't seem to be there. So don't know what game happened tonight, but it wasn't Auburn basketball I just watched. Bryson Bridges jumps in with the super chat. Appreciate you. Were you frustrated at any point with coaching, and is it mostly players? People tell me I shouldn't be frustrated, but to make it so far and implode like this hurts. Guys, War Eagle. I don't know that there is some frustration with coaching. I'll say that. Bruce Pearl doesn't like to call timeouts to like stem the tide. He wants his guys to play through it. He's always been that person. I do think there were some times where, hey man, we could have used some recalibration here to figure something else out. And I don't like what we decided to do strategically with what the matchup was. I don't think that there was a counterpunch idea in this strategy. It just looked like we were like, oh, this is going to work. This is going to work. This is going to work. And it's like, it's not working, Bruce. What are we going to do? And they're like, try it again.
Right.
And I would have loved to see some sort of counterpunch. The only counterpunch I think that they had in mind was, all right, well, when all else fails, let's try to get the ball to Jabari and maybe he can heat up. But again, he is a guy that functions with the flow of the game. He's not just give it to him and get out of the way. And I know everybody has been wanting to see that all year. That's just not the play. He's not that kind of guy. When he's hot, you definitely want to try to keep feeding him and letting him shoot, because then it seems like he can't miss. But he's not the kind of guy that you just give the ball to and get out of the way. He just doesn't have that kind of game. So you've got to figure out ways to scheme to get him open. And we just didn't have the right schematics to make that happen.
Right.
David Genrath says, really felt like the loss to Virginia just seemed off. I don't know. This ain't feel like Virginia. I was mad after the Virginia.
Yeah,
I'm not upset.
I was pretty angry after Virginia. After this one, I'm disappointed. I'm just really disappointed. I had righteous indignation after Virginia because those guys did what they had to do in a tough game, and it had it taken away from them. You know, we never brought enough to win tonight from opening tip.
Yeah,
it just wasn't there. They tried to fight back. They got it within one. And then again, those problems that we had just continue to rear their head. So
yeah. Walt jumps back in here. Bruce can't shoot the ball for them. But listen, there weren't a lot of the shots in the lane that they were missing were just demoralizing, right? Like Walker Kessler missing shots 2 inches from the rim, getting blocked. Jabari Smith getting blocked at the rim. Like that's the demoralizing stuff. Everything else was a tough. Miami forced them into some tough shots with very tenacious on the ball defense. And so it again, they didn't look like they were locked in at any point in time. Like there was no point where I was like, okay, they're starting. Like there was no stretch of the game other than the close of the first half where I felt like Auburn was locked in. They came back out in the second half just as flat as they started the game. I don't know. I just don't know.
yeah, for sure. For sure. So
There was another comment I liked in here that I wanted to bring up. This just because I don't know, because it's me. Bruce reminded me of Gustavo tonight. Run it till it works. Yeah. Listen, this was the frustration of Auburn football for 8 seasons for me, which
yeah.
was it's gonna work. We just got to do it better, guys. And it's like, no, it's not working tonight. We need to figure something else out. And they're just like, nope, run it again.
Yeah. I will say this though, before we go comparing to Gus, Bruce is delivering SEC championships though. So
Yeah, no, like I said, for one game we can make that comparison, but we definitely can't compare them as coaches.
That whole body of work. No, yeah. I don't think so. Man. This is
Tyrone Long, Ike. Bruce teams typically small, quick teams that can hit 3. So this is new for Bruce too. Absolutely, this is definitely a different type of team, built a little differently. He still has the small, quick guards, but he's never really had big men, and so his offense does not cater to throw the ball to the post and let a big man go to work. Like there was nothing in the strategy that fits Walker Kessler. They brought it up a lot of times tonight. They were thinking we were going to throw the ball down low. And it's like, you haven't watched Auburn play all year. Like, that's just not how we play. What I didn't see a lot of, which is what I was hoping to see, was the guards being able to get downhill on the pick and roll. Miami was having none of that tonight. They're like, we're jumping out on this pick and roll. They're going to force the ball out of the hands of the guards and make them figure it out in some other way. So it was just a tough game all the way around. Oh yeah, Christian, you are 100% correct. I was wrong about how Miami was going to guard us. They definitely, the things that I was right about here are, I figured they were going to do a lot of traps on us, right? And I was saying that what we did against Jacksonville State was, when they did that trap out front, we reversed the ball quickly and we made them pay in that way. And then the corner traps against Jabari, I was like, they're going to do this. They're just going to come out, because that's part of what they had been doing all season. What they didn't do that they had been doing was they weren't allowing the screener, the ball screens to get downhill, like, at all. Like, they just were like, that ain't happening at all. They were letting it happen all game, the last game. I don't know why. I mean, the tape is out on Auburn. If you let them get downhill, there's no chance that you succeed against them. And I think the issue is we just don't have enough outside shooting to make them pay for that type of stuff.
Right. Yeah, like I said,
thank you. You got to watch all the stuff to say.
Yeah, I mean, there was there was a lot that we called and we expected. I think the hope is that, our demons wouldn't catch up to us so early, and they did. If you've been paying attention, you're not completely shocked by tonight's result on offense. Maybe
I just
a little
at some point in time that they were going to snap
out of it. They just never did. Yeah, so that happened. That's happened to everybody. Now, I'll tell you, there were a lot of questions by fans late in the season about whether we weren't playing our best ball headed into the SEC tournament, and whether that would carry over. And we were kind of on the fence. We're on the fence about whether that was a sign of things to come, and the difference between the 2019 team and this team, how they were hot going into the tournament, went on a run, won the SEC tournament, and ultimately it ran all the way to the Final Four. I think we can say now in hindsight that maybe some of those fears were
Legitimate.
were legitimate, right?
Yeah.
That we weren't playing our best ball headed into postseason play, and it showed up. So there's something to be said for that, I think.
Yeah, Bryson Bridges jumps in. I bet y'all had more than one Gumby tonight. I
Oh,
didn't.
I had zero. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
because there was no time where it would have been a waste of a gummy.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
if they had made a run late in the game, maybe I'd have been tense. Or if we had at some point in time had a lead, or but we just from the very beginning, it was just like, wow. Like I was too much in shock to be nervous about the outcome. So
right.
yeah, I didn't feel like that at all.
Mm,
Bay lineman jumps in when we need outside shooting. Why not put Burman in? I don't get it. The issue, and people have been asking this all year about Burman. The issue with Burman is not that he can't shoot. He is a spot up shooter, number one. And our offense doesn't really cater to spot up shooting unless the pick and roll is working. And number two, defensively, those guards were way too quick for Burman to stay in front of. So we would have had to go back to some sort of who was Burman guarding on Miami tonight? Zep Jasper is one of the best on the ball guards in the country, and he didn't lock anybody down tonight. Who was Burman going to lock down on that team? If you
right.
need to, like, if we had been getting stops and if the rest of the defense was working well and Kessler's getting blocks and all that sort of thing, and the defense is, then I would agree a little bit more because me and B will have this conversation off camera a lot about the utility of Burman in our offense, and we need shooting, so why not put him in? The problem is you give up something defensively when you put Burman in there.
Right.
And you have to be able to have some sort of balance, or scoring more doesn't matter, especially when you're trying to come back in the game. You can score all the points you want to if you can't get stops. You saw that we were getting scores on one end, and we just give up the points right back on the other end. Scoring doesn't matter when you can't stop people, and you have to get stops. It starts with the defense for Auburn. And we're just not going to be, and he's not going to just score in bunches like that. He ain't just going to catch fire from three and be pulling up off the dribble and draining. It's just not, he's not that kind of dude. So I don't know that Burman would have helped a lot tonight. Definitely couldn't have hurt, but I don't know. I didn't see that being a thing that we needed to be able to do tonight. We need to be able to get stops, and we couldn't do that.
Yeah. Yeah. No stops. It just wasn't there. I mean, they were making some tough shots around the basket as well, too. I thought we made it a little difficult on them to shoot in the paint, but they were just making them, man. They were making reverses. They were using the rim to guard the shot. They did. I mean, you just got to give them credit, man. They played tough. Could Auburn have won this game? Certainly. We had the talent to. We just didn't show up tonight. There's nothing to say other than playing in the NCAA tournament is about showing up for about 6 games.
Yeah.
Right. You have to show up. There's no tomorrow. You have to play your best basketball for 6 games, and you have to match up, and you got to do more than the other guy. And we just didn't do that. There's no other way to paint it. Right. There was good defense, but ultimately our offensive struggles, which have been well documented, showed up. Right. Gonzaga fans are going nuts on my Twitter right now.
Of course they are.
Yeah. And I called them out. I called them out because I went into a Gonzaga space. If you joined our live, and just asked if they were worried about scoring droughts. Right. And there immediately is like, what about Auburn? Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I thought this is Gonzaga space. I thought we were talking about Gonzaga. And when it came down to it, it was, what I was trying to explain was you're going at me, but I don't know reasonable Auburn fan is denying what our shortcomings are.
Right.
We knew that this was possible. I think the prayer was just that it would not turn out this way.
Right.
So, you still got to look at it. We're going for the 3rd year straight, Auburn is going to lose our best player to the NBA draft, to the first round of the NBA draft for the 3rd year straight. And they're going to have to find the next kid to come in. Now, who's the point guard that we have coming in? Who's the guy, the dual sport athlete? He's
Donaldson.
not. Yeah, Donaldson is supposed to be that deal. And they're going after they're going after another guy, I think, in the portal that Bruce offered, trying to get him here. But I mean, there's still hope. I mean, there's still hope. I don't feel down about next season. I think they'll be back. And I think that Bruce Pearl has established that he can take a bunch of guys and make something
Yeah.
out of in 1 year, one off season, out of not really nothing, because you did get one of the best players in high school basketball to come to your school. But at the end of the day, the pieces around him were just as important.
Yeah.
And they had to go out and they had to evaluate talent, and they had to figure out who was going to be a good fit for this team. We didn't get everybody that we went after.
Right.
Certainly, some of those guys ended up at other schools that Bruce wanted. But I feel really confident in this coaching staff's ability to evaluate talent after this season.
Yeah, I
I
don't
really
think the
do.
problem was talent evaluation. I
Yeah.
just think that, you know, when you look at the performance for a Wendell Green and a Zep Jasper in those other leagues, you expect them to shoot the three ball a little better than what they did here at Auburn. And I think he was thinking to himself, okay, I've got some good outside shooters here based upon how the percentages of what they're shooting in these other leagues. And I don't think that it was the competition that was an issue for them. I just honestly don't feel the system of offense that we run is a really great fit for Zep Jasper. I think it fits Wendell Green really well. And he's gotten better at learning how to run it. And another season of him learning how to run it is going to benefit him a lot. We just honestly, the biggest issue for this team was the lack of an off guard that was able to just get the ball in his hands and go get. We thought it was going to be Flanagan, and Flanagan never materialized into that guy. If we had a Flanagan that looked remotely like what he did last year, where you could just give him the ball, he can go get a bucket for you when you need it, this team's way different. That off guard position, that big guard that can just go get a shot, it was sorely missed in this team. And this team is built to have one of those guys, and it just didn't have it this year. Sean Brown asks an interesting question. Do we see some players transferring out? I don't know who
would
can transfer out.
Yeah.
Right. Like, just because a lot of those guys just got here, right, from the guard position, all of those guys are transfers. There's not a single guard on this team that was not a transfer in this year that got significant playing time.
Now, is anybody going to be utilizing their COVID year for another
Zep
year?
Jasper already said he intended to
come back.
Ago, right?
Yeah, he's coming back. Right? Does Wendell have another year? Flanagan?
He's only a sophomore.
Oh,
Wendell and KD are both sophomores, so they've got plenty of eligibility left. And I don't.
So this
see
team, this team might have some continuity for a change going into next season.
Yeah, I mean, the issue is that your two best players are likely not coming back, right?
Yeah, Kessler coming back would be a coup. If Kessler decided he wanted to play one, Jabari's gone, so just get that out of your head. There's no way he's coming back. He's cost himself too much money. But like Kessler coming back, I don't know. I mean, I think there's a small argument to be made for Kessler giving it one more year.
I mean, I think that he should. He has some development that he needs to do, and we need to figure out whether or not he can be a guy that we can just throw the ball into the post and let him go get a bucket. Will he develop into a good post passer? The screen and roll game works well for him, and he, caught a lot of lobs for us this season. But can he develop his game into be more of a back to the basket or even a face up type of guy in the post? Can we get effective touches in the post for him? I don't know. Somebody, Philip Coleman says, I heard Stretch may be considering the transfer portal. He's probably the likely one. He's only got one more year of eligibility. And if Kessler comes back, then he is very likely to leave because Dylan Cardwell still has a ton of eligibility. I don't know that he would end up transferring anywhere. So he's probably the more likely one, maybe more, just because his minutes went down a lot. If I could possibly see Jalen transferring if we get another power forward that would come in and take his minutes again.
Right.
And he had a really great game tonight. He put some great film out there for us. But those would be the only ones that I would anticipate even considering it, unless they went down to a lower division. Like if somebody like Leor Burman decided, well, let me go play for Samford, right?
Right.
And instead of playing in the SEC. or going out to play for a team in the Mountain West or something like that, where they play more spot up shooting type of style of basketball. I could see that happening. But outside of that, yeah, I don't really know that anybody would have. Because here's the thing: you can want to transfer all you want to. Somebody's got to want you though, right? Like,
Facts.
and if you don't have tape that proves that you can do anything significant that fits their style, it doesn't matter if you want to leave. So I don't know. We'll see. I don't know that if someone does transfer, it won't be someone who was a significant contributor this year. I'll say that.
Yeah.
Stretch barely played for us, so I don't even know what we would be missing in him. Um, Jalen would be missed. He was a solid contributor off the bench. Um, I guess Cambridge could possibly want to transfer somewhere, but like I mean, yeah, I don't know. Again, if they transferred, it wouldn't be somebody who I'd be like, oh no, not him.
Yeah, for sure, for
Yeah. So
sure. He took a shot. He took a three that he bricked badly, and it came up real short. And then Bruce Pearl pulled him out of the game immediately after that
it's
shot.
yeah,
Yeah,
it was just like we were taking ill-advised shots, but you not gonna take them. Like of all the people to take an ill-advised shot, not you.
listen,
Because what are we doing? We're down
um,
by 12. Why are you shooting the ball?
yeah, we will not be making this T-shirt.
No,
for
no
the
chance.
record.
You can hang up that one.
Uh,
Yeah, man.
oh man.
Owen Somerville says Tevin Brown is going to transfer, calling it now. He's the shooter we need. Maybe. Let's
Mm.
see. Let me look up Tevin Brown a little bit here. Oh, the Murray State kid. Gotcha. Why do you think he's leaving? Why do you think he's leaving Murray State? That's interesting. Okay.
I don't know. I don't know. Man, so I mean, this was rough. This was rough. I don't think anybody foresaw both Kessler and Jabari having the night that they had. If you predicted that, go buy a lottery ticket right now. Um, you know what I mean? That's how I feel. If you predicted that, I don't think anybody could have predicted that. I don't think it's
So
unreasonable.
I normally don't address.
Uh-oh. Do you can do it? Go ahead. Go ahead.
I normally don't address comments like this, but I'm confused. Stop talking about what you obviously don't know and talk football, another sport neither of you know. Okay. I wanted to give you wanted a moment, so I gave you your moment. I just don't understand what you're so fiercely against that we're saying that would make you say that. But hey man, I appreciate you coming in and joining the conversation.
Sure. Hey, listen, man, he pays money to make those comments, so
Yeah.
so comments away. Yeah. So anyway, the talent development, I still feel confident in talent development, talent evaluation. Now, coaches have room to grow as well too, and I think that Coach Pearl has some areas of growth as a coach when it comes to in-game management. Certainly, and I think that he would tell you that he's admitted that as much in pressers. I'm sure. I think he should be off the podium now. If you guys know, we post the post game presser, so I will be putting up whatever it is that they have to say after this is all said and done. But it just to me it just feels like we can be disappointed, but this isn't one of those things where we should go straight to tear the program up. We have the coach we wanted. We had the coach we always wanted, and we're getting the players now. Players want to come play for him, and winning a championship is hard. After Virginia lost as the first number one overall seed to lose to 16.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of their fans wanted to throw the whole program out after that.
I mean,
They
they haven't
came
really
back and won the
recovered since then.
championship the next year.
Yeah, but like that was it. Like, and then it was just like back down the toilet.
Yeah,
But I mean, but listen, again, I trust the fact that Bruce Pearl can have this team back again. We've got some good guards coming in that are again, we're going to be a young team. It's going to be interesting to see the guard dynamic for next year. Um, so it's going to be really interesting Zach, I promise you I'm not. I promise I'm not. Like I don't want to argue with anybody in the comment section. I appreciate people coming. And if you feel like we are that terrible, then by all means, you have
Yeah,
better you have other places you can spend your time and money. I'm not going to do
yeah,
that.
yeah.
So,
Listen, I'll put it this way because I'm not like I've since we've been doing this, I've learned what to respond to and what not to.
yeah. I
But the things you say, the things that come out of your mouth, say more about you than they do about us. I'll leave
yeah,
that there. But for what we did this season, we didn't cover basketball last off season.
right.
We didn't cover basketball last offseason, and it was fun covering it this offseason. It was really fun. It helps fill the time between football has one of the longest off seasons of any sport, if not the longest. And it's tough because of all the physical rigors of football. And for us to have this type of season in between football was a blessing, man. It was really fun. It
Yeah.
was fun. It was fun covering this team. Now, what did that mean? We went to games. Our guy Lance is in Greenville. I hit him up and I was like, man, like this got done pretty late. So if we need to book you another hotel room, let me know. I'm sad that we're not going to get to send him to Chicago.
Yeah.
To cover the game for us. But, there were a lot of good things. We got to interview Bruce Pearl. There was a lot to just, look at, and I'll remember this season fondly for a lot of reasons. It ended in disappointment, but I'll remember this season very fondly for a lot of reasons.
Yeah, I am Hop. Rough loss, but dang, what a season! We'll be fine next year. Hope Kess comes back. I agree with you. Definitely a rough loss. Definitely hope Kessler comes back. Bryson Bridges jumps in. Here's $5 to help with the crippling $6 Daryl won't give you next month. Hey, listen, man, Daryl is welcome to do whatever he wants to with his time and money. He hasn't liked us in a long time. I honestly am not
Yeah,
sure why
yeah,
he
yeah.
keeps coming
It's
back,
funny.
but
Yeah, I don't know. He just let the call. He just lets the charge run every month. Apparently, yeah.
yeah, well, he said he's
So
going to cancel it today. So,
good. Okay.
we appreciate the time that you've been with us, Daryl,
Cool.
and
Yeah. Yeah.
whatever content creator is right for you, I hope you find them.
The
So,
chat is driven.
hey, listen, I don't even know why he's still here. Like, I'm just like, if we're so terrible, why are you still here? Like, you're wasting your time now.
Yeah.
So, anyway, let's see. Habersham Jim says, me and my wife enjoy what you do and would like to meet all four of you. Hey man, listen,
Listen.
we trying to figure out, like, in the football season, if we can do more meet and greet type stuff.
We did a tailgate for the Georgia game.
We did do the Georgia tailgate. Wish you guys could have, more of you would have. I got a great opportunity to meet a lot of you that day. And we've probably tripled in size since then. So a lot more of you, hopefully next season, we'll get an opportunity to meet. Very always good to meet you guys. I got a chance to see Corey Weber in person. And he finally won something, so maybe he won't be mad at us when he wasn't mad at us this time. I'm just kidding. Corey's a cool dude, man. Got an opportunity to meet him in person down there. A lot of guys. Auburn Dad was there. Too many to name. I don't want to start naming names because I'm gonna forget people who came, and it was great. But I am trying to figure out what we're gonna do for A-Day. I don't think we're gonna do a War Report tailgate, but I do hope to meet some of you guys down there if I make the drive down for that. Yeah.
Car Dog is asking how he can sign up. He said that he will gladly fill the void that Daryl leaves. So, hey,
There it
listen,
is.
become a patron. A great time to talk about it. Become a patron of our channel. We have grown so immensely since last offseason. It seems like yesterday we were at 100 subscribers. We are now approaching 7,000 subscribers on YouTube, and we've got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of patron members. So join our community. The basketball breakdowns that Ike is doing, you listen. If you watch that breakdown, then you know a little bit about what was coming from Miami. I kind of called it. Some other things he predicted maybe didn't happen the way he thought it did, but it's definitely good insights. We saved some of this for subscribers only. So go to our YouTube front page. If you're on an iPhone, you're not going to see that join button. If you're on an iPhone, you won't see the join button, but you can go to the YouTube in your Safari browser in desktop mode. So you click the double A in the top left, so select request desktop site, and then you'll see the join button. Sign in with the same details, and then you can register to be a patron. It's going to ask you for some payment information. The easiest way to do it, if you don't want to go through all that rigmarole on your iPhone, or if you have a Droid, you can do it. You can just use the same login credentials on a computer is probably the easiest way to do it. But fear not, your perks will transfer to your phone. Your access will transfer. Some of these chats, we opened this up to subscriber only, but some of these we do member only.
Right. You can view it, but if you want to comment, we definitely restrict it to just being members. So it'll happen from time to time. Specifically, we normally do the post games that way. So just be forewarned when we get into football season and we come on here and we do, because as much, listen, I am an avid basketball fan, despite what people might want to like. I love football, but basketball has always been my first love, right? But Auburn has never really given me a lot of reason to be excited about basketball. Like every now and then we'll have a flash. Avid basketball fan. However, as much as I love basketball, football is the thing that makes me emotionally unstable. So when I get on here after football games, it's just different. Like when we lose basketball games, I'm like, oh man, that sucked, man. We could have played better. When we lose basketball games, oh, it sucked. We lose football games, I'm like, what the? It's just something different, man. Like the feeling of losing. I think it's because each game matters so much more in football. So when you lose, it feels this immense thing that just destroys your season.
Yeah.
And I just so that for that reason, the post games for football, we limit it to people who have chosen to pay a monthly subscription to come in here and vent with us. Like we have to restrict that to family. Number one, because we feel like it's going to be a lot of people who need that space. Number two, I ain't got time for nobody trying to troll me while I'm still feeling emotional.
Yeah,
because I can't reach through the screen on you.
Yeah, again, we've grown so much, and there are stakes now. So I struggle with things that I can and can't say to people on social media, which is why my block button is hot, right? Because if I see it, I might respond.
Block is hot.
Yeah, the block is hot, and and if I do respond, in some of the cancel culture in society these days, they'll be sending emails to my sponsors and saying, "Oh,
Car dog,
yeah, he did it. He found it. My man. All right, Daryl, you can cancel now. We're good." We're plus one. We're plus one.
Oh,
Daryl will be back.
man.
Daryl, you know you can't quit us. I can't quit you. So, but again, growing our community, you guys' support helps us bring you more access. Hopefully, next basketball season, again, we're going to be. We were at every game just about this season. We had representation. The War Report has representation in the press room. We travel with football and basketball, and we do our best to give you guys as much access as possible. So this has just been a lot of fun. This was fun covering this team. I think it was fun. They gave us a lot to cheer for this season, and I think at the end, rather than just focusing on, all the analytics, once we go back and we break down the film and we can be hypercritical of this team, I think now as fans, it's okay to just say, it's just show appreciation for the effort that they put in. They did not quit this season in any game. And even tonight, they looked exhausted, but I didn't see quit. I just saw exhaustion at the end. They were so tired. Wendell at one point, I thought he was going to fall to his knees, man. He just looked so tired. And it has been an emotional roller coaster for this team. They weren't expected to do much.
Right.
I can't stress that enough. This was a team that was picked to finish 5th in the SEC because people just didn't know. They felt like other teams were more experienced than we were. And they pulled together one of the greatest runs in school history. One loss for most of the season. And finished the regular season with only 4 losses.
I think maybe 5. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, it was just. I don't know. Daryl is getting the super chats flowing. Daryl, keep talking.
If
Keep talking.
true to form though, I'm gonna be honest with y'all.
Mhm.
I'm not gonna watch another game in this tournament. I'm not. I'm just not gonna watch
Oh,
any more
yeah.
NCAA basketball this season. Like I'm done. I'm just like, oh well, Auburn's done.
Yeah.
It's. I guess I'll start watching baseball now, or I'll keep up with spring football. Oh
I
no,
will.
that is. I
I'll
am
watch.
about to turn up on this football content for y'all. That is what's gonna happen for
Oh
real.
yeah, yeah. We've got some great things coming for football and more interviews as well too. If you've been digging our interview series, you know we're working hard to get you. TJ Finley talked to us. Robbie Ashford talked to us. We've got more of those interviews on the way. So definitely, as our patron community grows, some of this content will become patron only, and that helps us get access to these guys. When you guys sign up, it definitely helps. It is. It's interesting when we started this, and you know, this feels like we're talking like this is the end of an era, right? When we started this, when Ike brought the idea to me for the War Report, if you've never heard our look at our community growing just like that. When Ike brought the idea for the War Report to me, I had not seen Ike man in person in like 10 years,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, for sure.
I was the friend that moved away after college, so I was on the West Coast for a lot of it, and I was home for Classic, and we had a mutual friend who was throwing a party, and he said, "I got this idea for this thing I want to do," and every once in a while, when you hear a good idea, you just know it's a good idea, and you say yes immediately. So we got it started November 7th of 2019. It was our first video. We didn't do much. We're still trying to pull the idea together. So I think we maybe did like 4 lives.
Yeah.
We took the off season off. We did nothing in the off season, and then COVID happened. So Ike hit me up and said, "Hey man, do we still want to roll with this War Report thing?" And I said, "Sure." So for the 2020 season, we just did Sunday and Wednesday lives consistently all season long, and then at the end of the season, every once in a while, another man's misfortune is somebody else's success. And Gus got the left foot of fellowship that
Yeah.
Auburn paid $21 million, and it had generated an unprecedented interest in Auburn football. And you guys were just looking for perspective. And the War Report turned up at that point for you guys. And the support we got after that was incredible. From the beginning of December to the end of December, we grew by 1,200 subscribers. By the end of February, we were over 3,000 subscribers. And now we're sitting here rolling on 7,000 subscribers. We are the largest independent Auburn content creators on YouTube. I say independent because I don't count AL.com and these big conglomerates that have been at it for years, right? For some guys who started a business, a legit business, man, we hired a lawyer, we formed a company, we've got revenues coming in, and we're credentialed press. We travel to games, we do a lot on the company dime, and it's all because of the thanks and support. I can't stress enough. I see the super chats rolling in here. I'm gonna let Ike get to these, but if you cannot become a member, right? We tried to price it so everybody could partake. And this is the way of the world. Like some of you will sign up not for the content, but just because you want to support us, which is totally okay. I do that with some gamers I follow. I just throw them $3 a month because I support independent content creators. But to the extent that you guys cannot become members, just your consistent views and comments help us grow.
Yeah.
Right. It doesn't always have to be money. Tell somebody about the War Report and
some of
help
our
us grow.
most devoted people don't pay us any money at all. Bob Williams, who made the plaques that we got for the challenges that we did,
One of our best subscribers,
doesn't pay a dime to us, but he figured out a way that he could do something that he wanted to do to help contribute to our channel, man. It's a wonderful thing. So yeah, man, I know it feels like we're trying to charge people for stuff. And it's really not about that. And I'd love to be able to do this full time, and I'm going to work my butt off to make it happen. But the fact that you guys keep showing up every week to just sit here and listen to us rattle on opinions that we have about stuff is amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Gene Collins, appreciate the super chat, man, from Daryl. Thank you for what you
Daryl low key is good for business.
Yeah,
thank you,
Daryl. Pocket Watch, here's to a fun basketball season. Definitely
it was fun.
Appreciate it. Yeah, it definitely was fun, man. I enjoyed
fun.
every minute of it, even the low tide of it. I don't even know why I used that word. Yeah. All right. Anyway, Bryson says, I bet Daryl smells like nickels and drinks white Gatorade.
What do
White
nickels smell
Gatorade
like?
actually is disgusting.
It
Like,
is gross.
let's
Every
just
once
talk
in a
about that
while,
for a second.
every once in a while, I forget because it'll be the only one there, and I'm like,
Yo,
why
it
did they
is
make this?
so terrible, bro. Like it
Gross.
is. I was like, it has like it's like anti-flavor. Like I just don't understand. Now it's really good for you if you need to like get fluids in your system and because it doesn't have a lot of the added sugar. Like, but I think they use like that substitutes like Splenda or something. Like it's
Yeah, it's
terrible. It's
so bad.
awful.
I do
It's
want to
awful.
recognize James Stallings. Thank you for becoming a member.
Yeah,
We
for
appreciate
sure.
the support, and Brandon Richardson right behind him, brother. We appreciate you as well too. I appreciate the love you guys are giving us, but I do really want to give love to this team, to our coach and this team.
Yeah, for sure.
Right now, let me tell you something about Bruce Pearl. Bruce Pearl sat down with the War Report. He sat down with us in the middle of one of the busiest weeks of his life.
Yeah.
And gave us 30 minutes to just have us ask questions on you guys' behalf. Part of having a community and the interaction that we encourage is that we want to give fans a voice in the room. So if you've noticed us on the pressers, you guys have commented hearing me in there quite a bit. I'm asking questions that honestly you guys give us every live stream. The interactions that we have and the ideas that get thrown around give us a lot of good things to go and get real questions that you guys want answered rather than the fluffy questions that you hear sometimes from reporters who maybe are just making it up on the spot. And those guys do a good job, and it's hard sometimes, but I really feel like the interaction with our community helps us add something to those press conferences that maybe wasn't there a whole lot before. Yeah. So we really do appreciate the interaction. But Bruce Pearl was, just you're talking about a guy who wasn't too good to sit down with us.
Yeah.
Had the number one team in the country, was riding high. He had interviews out the wazoo. I think he went to do an ESPN interview right after us. But man, I was floored that I was humbled that he got on and talked to us, and it was such a good conversation. We have that interview pinned to the top of our channel, so you should definitely go watch that interview if you get a chance. We're going to bring you guys more of that. Your support, jumping out here, helps people know, like, hey, we want to hear about Auburn basketball, but we want to hear it through the lens of the War Report.
Right.
That's what we're trying to do. So
jump back in here to these super chats. Pocket Watch giving us a here's to the basketball coverage growing next year. Pocket Watch, hey, listen, so here's the thing. I actually enjoyed like how I was doing the breakdowns of the other teams. The problem is basketball is so much more taxing because there's 2 games a week and there's not a lot of time in between. So I just got to figure out how to free up more of my schedule in order to be able to do that sort of thing. But we are definitely trying to give you guys more of that. Habersham Jim said, give me a few days and I will join. Didn't attend Auburn, but I am an Auburn fan since the 70s and 80s. We always appreciate that. I appreciate you coming in here and share with us. Doug Easom says, I've not always agreed with y'all, but I'm not going nowhere. Hey, listen, this is not a you have to agree with us to stay zone. I have zero problem with anybody telling me, you know what you just said makes absolutely no sense. I disagree with everything you just said. As long as you're respectful in the way that you give your opinion and you bring some sort of facts to the table, because I'm going to debate how I feel based upon whatever facts I have.
Family argues all the time.
Yeah,
it doesn't make us any less family.
I think people look past the fact, and I say this all the time, we don't even agree with each other half the time. There are very few times when all 4 of us have the exact same opinion about anything, and that includes what to do with the War Report.
Yeah, we argue all the time. Disagree but get along.
I have no problem with you guys disagreeing with anything. Yeah. So we welcome that energy, man. Just, like I said, just if you're respectful, you stick around as long as you want to. My guy, Unleashed Magazine, my guy in real life, I've known him for a long time. Appreciate you always sticking with us. Keep doing your thing, family. Absolutely will do that and appreciate you. You guys should go check out Unleashed Magazine. If you're a dog lover, he's got a magazine that he's got going on. that is specifically for the dog lovers out there. So go check out my guy there. Call Me Biscuit says, brand new here from the bunker. Damn it, had Iowa State 11 waiting. How do I join? Mike G, he's asking your favorite question.
Oh my God. Listen, I didn't think I was gonna have to do this so many times. Head on over to YouTube, become a patron, look for that join button. If you're on an iPhone, you're not gonna see the join button on the front page of our YouTube. Head over to a computer, log in with the same email and password login that you have. Make sure the usernames match before you hit that join button. It's going to ask you for some payment information through YouTube. It's a thing with Apple, guys. Like Apple, if you don't know how this works, Apple takes a cut of everything that's charged through the App Store, and YouTube also takes a cut of that fee. So if you actually registered through the App Store on an iPhone, they would take double the fees, which is why YouTube does not allow people to sign up from an iPhone, because if Apple processes the payment, they're taking their percentage, and then YouTube is taking a percentage on top of that. So the creators actually get less, not even half of what you guys sign up for. So we price our memberships with that in mind, that there's a cut being taken for credit card processing, but that's why you cannot sign up for an iPhone. It's not, we hope one day Apple will be a little less greedy and just not take a percentage of that personally.
Yeah, because Apple does suck, but whatever.
But that's what they do. So if you go to a computer, I promise your perks will transfer. All your access will transfer to your iPhone. You just have to sign up from a computer.
Brenda, appreciate you coming on board.
Hey, Brenda.
Always welcome to see that. Cole Taylor jumps in with this question that people are answering very vehemently in the chat. Have a question. Do you think that KD will come back? Sean Scott says he thinks KD will go pro. I just don't see that happening. KD he's not ready for pro basketball today. He's got a lot of development that he needs to do from just his ability. Like, he is a guard that is always going to be a bench player if he goes to the league in his stage of development right now. He has a lot of intangible skills that could serve him well in the league. He just needs to be able to develop a little bit more consistency with his shot, figuring out how to get into his mid-range. There's a lot of good things about KD. I don't think that he's an NBA talent right now. Listen, if he decides to go pro, I hope he proves me wrong. I just don't see it today. He could go out there in the G League and probably bust some folks up, but
right.
I don't think he is going to be an NBA talent right now.
Yeah, I had questions about KD's game, right? Early in the season, and I kind of talked me off the ledge about KD's, like, he's an energy guy, and there were just the good. There was the good and the bad that you had to accept with KD.
Yeah.
When he gets hot, he's hot, and he brings a consistent energy to the game. Sometimes maybe just a little bit too emotional when things aren't going his way. And when he gets cold, he can go really cold. Like that. The ebbs and flows with him were just, man, they were high and low.
He's not consistent enough a player in order to be an NBA talent today.
Maybe that's part of the development that Bruce works with him in the offseason, right? To help kind of rein that in, and he becomes a more mature, consistent player. That's the advantage to having players actually come back.
Yeah.
And not losing your best players to the NBA every year.
He had one of the worst coaches in college basketball his freshman year. So he had nowhere to go but up as far as being able to develop. Tom Crean getting you out of high school, it doesn't do anything for anybody's career. I don't know how Anthony Edwards, that should tell you how good a basketball player Anthony Edwards was, though, because he had to sit through a year of Tom Crean as his coach, and he's still a really good NBA talent. Like, Crean did nothing for this man his entire freshman year of Georgia. So I don't know, man. Let's see here. People asking about B. Will. If you didn't catch the show earlier, Brian hasn't been around. That's because his wife is pregnant. They had the baby. So congrats again to B. Will, another baby boy, another member of the War Report family out here. I need to get like a War Report onesie or something made and send that to.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna get a picture of that for
Yeah.
sure.
But yeah, so that's the B Will has been on daddy duty, man, out there handling that and trying to help us make sure that we keep our podcast moving. So he's been stepping off of um the screen to be able to take
I
care of that
see
type of
a
stuff.
new commenter here. Town 8 and 45. Hey guys, Word Amigo, tough loss for us Auburn fans. Could you please share your thoughts on who will be leaving for the pros, and also when do players have to declare for the draft? Ike.
I don't know the answer to that second question when they have to declare. But if I were to just venture a guess, I would say Jabari for sure. And then maybe Walker Kessler. Outside of that, I don't know that there's another NBA talent on this team right now. Had Flanagan had a repeat of last season, yeah, but he was far from that this year. So
April 24th is the deadline to declare for the draft.
yeah, Jabari is really the only guy who is a surefire first round pick.
Mm-hmm.
I do believe, honestly, that the uh, as much as Walker Kessler is a dynamic defensive talent and a talented just basketball player, he could use one more year. But listen, if he wants to jump and go pro, I think some team will take a flyer on him and he can go out there and do some things in the NBA. I just don't know that he's NBA ready himself. The NBA is changing a lot, right? So like talents like Walker Kessler are going to be few and far between if they can't consistently make jump shots in the
Right.
NBA.
That's facts.
And so, as good as he is defensively, he's going to be relegated to somebody's seventh or eighth man in the NBA. And I talked about this at the beginning of this live about how, in order for Walker Kessler to get really involved in the game, he kind of needs to be not a focal point as far as he needs to get a lot of touches, but he needs to be involved in the offense from the beginning. He doesn't strike me as a come off of the bench guy to give you a bunch of energy and useful minutes in that way. But hey, listen, I would love to be wrong about that as well. So the only guy I know for sure is gone is Jabari. Walker Kessler is a maybe right now. I think he could benefit from an additional season. Outside of that, the rest of those guys need to be back here at Auburn, or if they're transferring, going somewhere that fits them as a system. But those are the only two that I see for sure, or that even have a possibility of making the jump to the NBA. So. Bryson Bridges jumps in again quick. Someone tell B Will to name his kid Daryl. The name has already been chosen. I have I have a son and I really don't like sharing like personal information about my kid. So I told him that I was going to let him, if he chose to give you guys the name of his son, all that kind of stuff, I'll let him disclose that. I don't really, I ask him for permission to tell y'all they even had the baby, right? Like that's his business to tell. And I'm just really adamant about people's personal lives. I don't want to share their personal business. So, but yeah, definitely congrats to him. That's my guy. I can't wait to get down there to Auburn to see my new nephew. Let's see.
He says, Philip Coleman says Kessler will be used like Rudy Gobert, defense and catching a lob.
Rudy Gobert is a little bit. Rudy Gobert is a good prototype for what Walker Kessler could be in the NBA. I'll agree with that as far as like what his skill set is. Rudy Gobert is a better passer than Walker Kessler is out of the post, and he is a little bit. He moves his feet a little bit better than Walker Kessler too. Walker Kessler is an amazing shot blocker. But he's not quite Rudy Gobert fleet of foot. And those NBA guys, and we saw that tonight, right? Like when he had to get out high and guard off the ball. On the ball, he's actually pretty decent because of how long he is, and he has a good recovery speed. But off the ball, not really great at being able to cover someone with quickness. And you have to think about the type of people that he would be covering on a consistent basis in the NBA, even at 7 feet tall. I don't know that he's ready for that without figuring out how to put on a little bit more mass to either bulk up and be big down low and really learn how to use himself as a low post threat, or figure out how to get some more, quickness and lateral movement in his game. But Rudy Gobert, again, that's a good comparable to him. That's, you know what? I hear a lot of people make really bad comparisons. That's a really good comparison. Rudy Gobert is a good one for him.
Yeah.
So,
A lot,
See,
yeah, a lot of you saying you want to see Kessler stay another year. I agree. I would love to see him stay another year. I think he could benefit definitely.
Paid in Full says Kessler reminds me a lot of JaVale McGee. The only reason I would not say JaVale McGee, even though again they do their games are very similar. JaVale McGee has like he's a 7-footer with a ridiculous he can jump for real, right? Like JaVale McGee was in the dunk contest. Like he can actually jump. And so I don't like Walker Kessler don't have springs like that. And so that's not a great compare. Like I said, Rudy Gobert is really good. That's a really good one that a lot of people, whoever I don't remember who said that just a minute ago. It's a really good. That's a really good comparison because Rudy Gobert is not like the most like physically gifted leaper, but he moves his feet a little bit better. That's a really good comparison though. I
Yeah,
like
for
that.
sure, for sure. I'm getting DMs about people. I've gotten 6 DMs today about people
Oh,
looking
I
for
hadn't
the
even been looking at my DMs.
War Report Discord. So this is something that we have talked about. And while we're here, just kind of commiserating with family, uh, I don't know, man. Drop me drop a line in the comment if you would be interested in us starting a Discord channel. Let me know. What we are doing, we do a lot of things, and there are a lot of ways for you guys to communicate with us. I'm going to tell you guys, I I have no interest in doing a Discord that's open to everybody. So part of why we put paywalls up is that it keeps trolls out.
Well,
It,
some of them.
yeah, it keeps trolls out for the most part, so that we can actually talk about things troll free. I mean, most of the trolls won't pay to come in. So if we did start a Discord, I'm not gonna lie, it would be like invite to patrons only, and there would be a nominal fee to join. But I had an idea to bring people into the Discord to chat it up with us as well too. So again, we do these interviews with former players. If you watched our Chop It Up with the Pro series last year, we did Q&As with former players turned pro on the football end. But I would if you guys are interested in the Discord, drop me a line, man. Drop me a line on Twitter, anywhere you can. If enough people say they want it, we'll get it started. I've actually created the Discord already. I just haven't activated it because we're still discussing how to execute this exactly.
Yeah.
But I would not. I'm not. It's. I know we ask you guys for a lot every time we come on these lives. It's like sign up to be a patron, donate to the Humane Society, do all this. Not really interested in doing something that's free and open to everybody, only because of what that turns into. The Discords turn into echo chambers, and they become really toxic and hard to moderate. I don't want to do that. I want to. If we're going to do it, just like everything else the War Report does, I want it to be a step above and better. So if you guys are interested, I will get it started. If you guys think there's something you'll throw a couple dollars to a month, I would definitely get one started.
Yeah. Jumping back in here, Minion Mafia says, "What next step could Wendell take? He just kind of is what he is." I think the big thing for Wendell is going to be figuring out um, how to limit the turnovers. Like he turns the ball over way too much for a guy who is as high usage as he is. So turnovers and shot selection are going to be the biggest thing for him as a guard because he's not a big guy, so he's not going to grow anymore. He ain't going to get any taller. He just has to be able to make better decisions with the ball in his hand and be a little bit more judicious with how he gets to his shots. That's one thing I've talked about all season about we don't really have a guy with that bag that could just go and doesn't need a ball screen to get free. Like Wendell's only real move is the step back or the side step 3 situation to free himself up for a shot. He just needs to figure out how to get to different shots and be a more effective shot creator or be a much better distributor, right? Like he doesn't have to be a high scoring guard, but he has to distribute the ball way better and have less turnovers in order to be really effective, I think, next season. Stephen Brantley says Jabari can go pro, but he needs to work on his ball handling, in my opinion. Don't disagree.
Yeah,
Again, Jabari just don't have that bag like that. Like
yeah,
he
he's,
just
he's
can't
just
go
not
get into
happy.
a bag.
It's not his
Um,
game.
Yeah, so he has to either figure out how to be more effective with what is his game or broaden his game a little bit more, which
For
is why I
sure.
feel like the KD comparisons were ridiculous. KD is just much better ball handler than Jabari is. So yeah. Super chat here from Ryan Brown says, thanks, y'all, for the killer content all year. This team has such great talent and energy, just needed a little bit more experience and mental discipline, in my opinion. Cannot disagree with that statement. The experience is really what helped Miami in this situation. They didn't get flustered with anything that we tried to throw at them. And discipline on offense, or lack of discipline on offense, was always the Achilles heel for this team. Figuring out how to be consistent in that form is important. Bryson Bridges jumps in here again. How come Mike G the only one with no facial hair? I didn't know they had this guy.
Unfortunately, for my job, I have to be clean shaven for the most part, so I have to shave often. The
Yeah,
business
and for my
environment
job, I'm gonna die, whatever.
requires that we shave. So, hey, become a patron, and if enough of you sign up, I don't have to go in there and worry about shaving every morning.
I stopped shaving my joint off. Shoot, man, probably like 7, 8 years ago now. And I had let it grow all the way out for a while. It was like really long and bushy
Mhm.
for a minute. And then I cut it down for a job that I was working. And then after I stopped that job, I was like, I'm never again. I look
Mhm.
like I look 14 without a beard. I can't do it. So
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm telling you, you guys are already at me on Twitter about this Discord. so so we might have to go ahead and get this started.
Don't
I'm
at
gonna.
me.
Hey, listen, I'm warning you guys. I'm gonna be a complete dictator in this Discord. I've been in Discords. I've seen what they can be. I have no interest in creating a toxic echo chamber, none whatsoever. So the same way we demand that people treat each other with respect on our lives and our comment sections, I will demand that doubly in this Discord. So that we could just talk ball and share information. And there are some things that we can't say everything publicly, right?
Yeah.
Like there's just some things that are just family only, and we are connected, but we never claim to have sources because that's not what we do. We don't report news. And JG, Tate, and some of these guys out here who do a great job reporting and investigating and finding out things, that's what they do. Like, what we don't really investigate. People just like us and talk to us, so we find out things through being connected and having good relationships with people. Sometimes we can share some of that stuff with you guys. I wouldn't mind sharing some of that in the Discord. I just don't want it to turn into a rumor mill or rumor mongering or any like that. I mean, some of the worst things about the worst parts of Discord reared their head during some of the Brian Harson stuff this offseason.
Right.
I was really turned off by it. So we just want to keep that on the up and up. I mean, everything the War Report does has to be a step above. This Discord would not be different. But give me a couple weeks, guys. I'll get that started and we'll Discord it up.
For sure, for sure. All right, man. It's getting late. I still have to get up, and if Mike, if you want to stay on, you can definitely do that,
Uh,
man. I'm about to get up out of here though.
Listen,
Because I still do have a job I have to get up for in the morning, man.
me too.
Yeah.
Thanks to everybody for coming out and just commiserating with us on this. While we're here, one last time, become a patron, $5.99. Join our YouTube channel. I saw somebody say, why not make the Discord subscribers only? That's another idea where we may just extend that to people. We're working on our email list, getting more comprehensive email list, so we know how to reach out to you guys via email about things. If you sign up for our list, I promise you, you won't be getting spammed from the War Report. Ain't nobody got time for that. When we send you something, if you see an email from the War Report, it's usually because we're trying to give away something or tell you about how to get something that we're giving away. That's what we use it for. So sign up for that email list and we'll reach out. If not, if you're having trouble with that, just DM me on Twitter or email us business@thewarreport. We'll respond to you. Some of the other things we got going on, we're partnered with the Lee County Humane Society, raising money for a good cause. Guys, if you've got a couple extra dollars kicking around and you want to do something good in the world, please donate to this fundraiser. 50 cents on every dollar goes to them to help them save every single puppy that comes into their care. We usually give away something every live stream. We're not tonight. We did earlier today, but if you don't win, you can just go to our merch store and buy some of the stuff we got going on in there. Go to thewarreport.com check out our merch store. We got some really good stuff in there. And as far as our sponsors are concerned, special shout out to the Rogue Shop. So if you've heard us talking about gummies to keep us calm during these games, this is where we get it from. Our guy Richard at the Rogue Shop hooks us up with a lot of good Delta 8 products, CBD products, things that are good for energy, sleep, stress. You can get that at rogueshop.com. Use code RAPPORT so they know you came over from the War Report, and you'll get 10% off if you do that. So thank you, everybody. Sincere thank you to our community tonight. We appreciate everybody taking a little time to jump on with us. You're muted. You're muted, Ike.
I realized like that half like two sentences, 2 words into that sentence. I still may do like a little, breakdown or whatever on why this game was so terrible. I don't know if I am.
It's so depressing.
Yeah, it's just there's not much to break down other than, hey, this shot was awful. This rebound didn't go the way it was supposed to. But if enough of you guys really want that, I can. Y'all really, if y'all really gonna make me rewatch this game, I can do that. But outside of that, man, football content is going to start cranking up, and I am looking forward to doing all of that, getting you guys in the know about what's happening with spring ball. So looking forward to it. I appreciate y'all coming in here to chop it up with us tonight. Let your frustrations out with us.
Yes.
And we will definitely be back at y'all. What is today? Today's Sunday. So Wednesday is the next scheduled time for us to come back out here and talk about whatever the heck else is going on. Wish we had more basketball to talk about this season, but there's always next year, and there definitely is football on the horizon. So thank you all very much for all that you do to support us, and we will continue doing what we can to keep you guys informed about the best university sports programs out there in the world, and that's Auburn University. Till next time, and as always, War Eagle, and we're out of here.
War Eagle.